Threats, polygraph tests, and a plot to kill Kid Cudi. This isn't a Netflix crime drama. It's a real federal trial playing out in front of a jury, with Sean "Diddy" Combs in the hot seat. Once a billionaire mogul who ruled the hip-hop industry, Diddy is now facing accusations so disturbing they could dismantle everything he's built. This isn't just about one man. It's about power, silence, and what happens when a celebrity empire turns into an alleged criminal enterprise. Testimonies from former assistants, celebrity stylists, and even Kid Cudi himself are painting a picture far darker than anyone imagined. What started as rumors has evolved into a legal firestorm, one that could end with Diddy behind bars. So buckle in, because what you're about to hear, from alleged threats to witness tampering, could change everything you thought you knew about one of hip-hop's most powerful men. Capricorn Clark's name isn't new in the industry, but few knew just how close she was to Diddy until she took the stand. Hired in the early 2000s as an assistant, she wasn't just some background figure fetching coffee or booking flights. Over the years, she became deeply embedded in the bad boy machine. Her resume within Diddy's empire reads like a corporate ladder on steroids, from assistant to director of marketing for Sean John's women's line to Cassie Ventura's personal brand director. She moved in the same rooms as Diddy, Cassie, Biggie's former associates, and major security figures. She knew the players, she knew the politics, and according to her, she knew the abuse. Her testimony wasn't just damning, it was deeply personal. And if even part of what she said holds up in court, it could be a critical cornerstone in the racketeering case. Imagine this. It's your first day on the job. You're walking through Central Park with your new boss and a towering bodyguard nicknamed Uncle Paulie. The mood is calm, even quiet. Then your boss, one of the most powerful men in entertainment, turns to you and says, "If I find out you have anything to do with Suge Knight, I'll have you killed." That's what Capricorn Clark claims happened. And she wasn't exaggerating. She recounted the conversation in chilling detail. Uncle Paulie, the silent enforcer, didn't flinch. According to her, he stood stone-faced while the threat was made. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a test. It was a line in the sand. Why the paranoia? Because Suge Knight wasn't just another music executive. He was Diddy's arch rival. Death Row versus Bad Boy wasn't just a media feud. People died. Allegiances were dangerous. And Clark, as it turned out, had known Suge Knight personally. She had once signed with Death Row, and Suge was the father of her best friend's kids. She says she didn't disclose that. And now, looking back, she believes that moment in Central Park was Diddy letting her know, "I own you now." What happened next could have come straight out of a psychological thriller. After months of working for Diddy, Clark was accused of stealing a diamond-studded watch and necklace. These weren't just any accessories. They were on loan from Jacob the Jeweler, a name synonymous with hip-hop excess and street credibility. She says she did what anyone would. She called security to report the missing items. But that act of honesty backfired. Clark was taken to a new office building, one that was empty, unfinished, and eerily quiet. Once inside, the doors were locked behind her. No phone, no exit. Just her, a security enforcer, and an unknown man who told her, "Take the test, or you're going into the East River." She wasn't given a lawyer. She wasn't free to leave. Instead, she was subjected to not one, not two, but 5 polygraph tests over several days. Clark described being so terrified her hands were shaking uncontrollably. The machine couldn't even get a proper reading. And all the while, Diddy never checked in. No apology, no explanation, just silence. What's worse? After this psychological torment, she says she was told to show up to work like nothing happened. This wasn't just intimidation. It was about breaking someone down completely without laying a finger on them. And according to prosecutors, it was just one piece of a much larger pattern. Prosecutors aren't just building a case around random bad behavior. They're trying to prove something far more serious, that Sean Combs ran a criminal organization using his brand as a front, and Capricorn Clark might be the connective tissue they need. To convict someone of racketeering, the government has to prove they committed at least 2 specific crimes as part of a larger criminal enterprise. The crimes can range from kidnapping and assault to arson, bribery, trafficking, and witness tampering. Clark's testimony? It touches nearly every box. She says she witnessed intimidation tactics, forced interrogations, and gun threats. She even places herself at the scene of what might have been a retaliation attempt on Kid Cudi, one that included a black SUV and a car that later exploded in flames. And remember, the SUV in question was registered to Bad Boy Productions. Coincidence? Or evidence of a deeper operation? Of all the names wrapped into this case, Kid Cudi might be the most surprising. A rapper known more for introspection and mental health advocacy than controversy. But what happened to him, if proven true, reads like something out of a mob movie. In her testimony, Capricorn Clark described a moment that still haunts her. Sitting inside a black Escalade with heavy tinted windows, parked outside Kid Cudi's home. According to her, the SUV was registered to Bad Boy Productions, Diddy's company. She didn't know why they were there, not at first, but she would later learn that Kid Cudi had started seeing Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, and that made him a target. Soon after, Cudi's house was broken into. His belongings were moved. His dog, usually calm, was locked in the bathroom, visibly shaken. But the story doesn't end there. Days later, Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. At the time, he gave a vague statement to the media. Now, through court documents, it's been confirmed. He believes Diddy was behind the arson. Cudi hasn't testified in person yet, but his name keeps surfacing. And if prosecutors call him to the stand, it could blow the case wide open. Deontay Nash had a front-row seat to the chaos. As a celebrity stylist in Diddy's inner circle, he traveled with the crew, dressed the stars, and spent time in the same rooms where the music and madness collided. But what he told the court shocked even the most jaded spectators. Nash claimed he saw Diddy physically assault Cassie, not once, but several times. One moment stood out. During a trip, he said Diddy flew into a rage, grabbing Cassie and slamming her into a wall until she bled. Nash said he tried to intervene, but security didn't move. They didn't break it up. They watched. When Nash spoke up later, he says he was warned to mind his business. And while he tried to leave the orbit of Diddy's circle, he says the emotional scars stuck with him. Nash's testimony added a new dimension to the case. This wasn't just abuse behind closed doors. This was abuse people saw and stayed silent about. One of the most harrowing testimonies came from a woman using the pseudonym Mia. Her voice trembled, her identity hidden, but her words devastating. Mia worked as an executive assistant, someone who was supposed to handle logistics, travel, emails. But according to her, the job was anything but ordinary. She claimed Diddy her multiple times. She was allegedly forced to work days without sleep, pumped full of stimulants like When she made mistakes, even minor ones, she was punished with unpaid suspensions and verbal attacks. She recalled one instance where she tried to resign while on a yacht in St. Bart's. But when she asked for her passport, she was told it was misplaced. She was trapped. When she finally managed to escape the yacht, she made it to shore, only to be forced onto a private jet headed for Las Vegas. According to Mia, Diddy didn't just want obedience. He wanted control over her time, her body, and her freedom. And after Cassie's lawsuit in 2023, Diddy allegedly tried to contact her again, this time with promises of gifts and vague messages asking her to talk. Mia never responded, but her testimony might be the most emotionally charged moment in the entire trial so far. Prosecutors say that after the lawsuits began surfacing, including Cassie's explosive 2023 filing, Diddy went into full containment mode. That meant trying to get in touch with former employees. Fast. The name D-Rock came up repeatedly. Long known as Diddy's right-hand man, D-Rock allegedly reached out to multiple people who had worked with Diddy in the past, including Mia. Texts revealed in court showed offers of something to send your way and requests for a conversation. Mia interpreted that as an attempt to buy her silence. Another message from Diddy himself said, "You were my right hand for years. I just want to remember who was even around me." To a jury, those words might sound nostalgic, but to prosecutors, they sound like witness tampering, a federal offense. Combined with the alleged threats, assaults, and control tactics, this could be the second major predicate crime needed to convict him under racketeering. What's truly disturbing isn't just the number of allegations, it's the consistency. From Capricorn Clark to Deontay Nash, from Mia to Kid Cudi, the stories all point to a central pattern: fear, loyalty, silence, and Diddy at the center of it all. This isn't just a scandal, it's a collapse. Sponsors have begun backing away. Ciroc and De Leon, two liquor brands Diddy was heavily tied to, have already started severing business ties. His Revolt TV empire is under review. Even longtime associates are distancing themselves. And then there's Cassie. Her out-of-court settlement was fast, but her accusations are still echoing through this trial. Her story was the match that lit the fuse. This case isn't about one bad night or one bad breakup. It's about what happens when power becomes untouchable, until it isn't. As the courtroom drama continues to unfold, one thing is clear. This trial is no longer just about Diddy. It's about the music industry's dark underbelly, about the silence money can buy, and about the people, assistants, stylists, ex-lovers, who decided they couldn't stay quiet anymore. The prosecution still has more witnesses to call. The defense is preparing to strike back. But as each piece of testimony hits the public record, the image of Diddy as a mere bad boy gets harder and harder to defend. If convicted, Diddy could face decades in prison. If not, he'll still carry the weight of every word spoken under oath. So, what do you think? Is this the end of an empire or the start of a deeper reckoning? Drop your thoughts below and stay tuned because this trial, it's only just beginning.